the top of my list, which I obviously started with Tottenham.
Okay.
So I'm curious.
Obviously the bottom of mine.
So this is a situation where we
You actually do need 3 players.
Levy as a whole doesn't spend. We don't spend that often in January, but if there's any year that we need to spend, I think it's this year. AFCON, we're going to lose Sarr and Basuma. With Bentancur, who just picked up another injury, and Madison injured, we're very low on depth in the center midfielder. And I just saw something that potentially Son is going to be gone for like a month or so.
Yeah, for Asian Cup.
Yeah. I didn't know that was happening, and I'm not too happy about it.
Yeah, we're
But
going to
anyways,
Tomiyasu for a little while.
Yeah, Son, Tomiyasu. Anyways, starting, I went with Arthur Veerman. Am I saying that correctly? Vermeeren.
Yeah.
He plays for Antwerp.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, don't know much about him.
No way you get him, but sure.
Agreed. He's
spectacular.
He's amazing.
Spectacular.
And I think he's the type of player that I don't want us to bring in someone who is kind of just a placeholder, because in January you're going to have to overpay.
Right.
So let's bring in someone who can keep us competitive, hold us in the top 4 race and then next year, it's all like a building Lego falling situation to where you keep us in the top 4, everyone comes back, then we're in the Champions League. We need more depth next year. Then you already got it in the center mid position, whatever. So he's who I picked to bring in at the center mid position. It's obviously not extremely realistic. The other 2 I have are more realistic, but I figured I'd just throw that one out there in case anyone in the Tottenham camp happens to be listening to our podcast.
Great. Yeah, I mean, mine is also in the same position, and I feel like, to me, as great as Vermeeren is, and long-term, that brings Tottenham to another level if he develops there. I mean, I think he's going to be a world-class player. My issue with is you bring in Vermeeren from Antwerp to jump into the Premier League, and he's getting thrown into games immediately. You're probably going to struggle. And Tottenham are in a real position right now where they have their eyes on top 4. They want to be back in the Champions
You're at the crux
League.
to where you got to make a decision, or we're going for it or we're not.
So I have Calvin Phillips as the midfielder that they bring in. I think you get Calvin Phillips at 25 million euros.
Yeah.
And I know he hasn't played much and he's, gained some weight or whatever. This is a player who is excellent for Leeds in the Premier League. He's played at the highest level with England.
He was a no-brainer starter for England for a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this would be a huge, huge get for Tottenham to get a player from Manchester City of this level, of this caliber, and it's not at a high cost, right? 25 million, and you bring him in January, and he's not good for 6 months, whatever.
Right.
You haven't spent your whole budget on it. It probably won't affect your summer. I think it just makes sense. Obviously, we talked about Højbjerg in previous episodes deteriorating. You need another holding midfielder.
I agree. I almost wrote that down. I think it is unfortunately almost a foregone conclusion that he goes to Newcastle with everything I'm reading with Tonali and obviously.
I mean, I've seen Manchester United are making a late push for him as well.
Really?
So
even though they just brought in Amrabat, that's kind of surprising to me. But like you said,
it's not like they have any real transfer policy over there.
Yeah, anyone who is in form, it's not a big payment to make. So like anyone can realistically be in form. But yeah, everything I read is that they're just going to put him in for where Tonali was supposed to play, which obviously makes a ton of sense. I think it was a loan to Newcastle. Like, they can't bring him in.
Financial fair play.
Yeah, because of financial fair play. But next, I had... So, one that is more of, like, vibes Tottenham Twitter, and then one that's more actual rumors.
I think I have one that's more vibes.
Okay, so it's one of the two. And they're both attacking depth.
Okay.
Is Jota he went to Saudi.
Who was at Celtic.
Correct. Who played for Ange.
Yeah.
He was amazing for him.
Yes, he was.
He's someone I wanted to bring in the summer. He took the money in Saudi. I don't know the details of what's going on, but he hasn't played a match there, and he's suspended. I don't know what it is. He's not playing for the team that bought him. And everyone wants to bring him back. I don't know if that would be a loan situation or not, but like, you bring in someone who is young, has that flair, and played under Ange, that's someone in January who makes a ton of sense. Because, like, similar to what I was saying in episode 1 about Doku and how quickly he adapted to that City team, and I think that's so great. Like, that's rare to come by. Yeah. So if you have a player who's already played in the system and you can bring them in January and they're thrown right in, I think that makes a ton of sense. But the other one is Illing Jr. from Juventus.
I was just talking about him with my Tottenham fan friend. That would be one of the biggest signings Tottenham has ever made.
Yeah, so apparently he's amazing.
He's incredible.
And just the way Allegri plays at Juve, there's just no space for him.
No, because that's how Allegri. I mean,
right.
Allegri
So
plays
it sounds
ball.
and people are throwing around 15 to 20 mil as the price tag, which
I mean, you're getting an unproven player, but
which apparently could be the steal of forever.
It could be. I mean, I've watched him play quite a bit with the England internationals, like their younger sides, under 21s most recently, and he is unbelievable.
Yeah. So I think similar to what you were saying with Vermeeren is, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Is we need immediate center mid depth in terms of the injuries and then AFCON. In terms of the front three, we're actually fairly fully healthy to where Ealing Jr. doesn't need to come in and make an immediate impact, and that could be a long-term investment. Jota's young, and that could be a long-term investment, but he would come in and make an immediate impact. So I think center mid, you probably need someone who's more ready, but Ealing Jr. could be a great guy.
For sure, and his final action hasn't fully been sorted out yet, but his ball manipulation, his creativity, and his pace and power are absurd.
I mean, Tottenham Twitter is posting all the highlight reels.
He's very fun to watch. All right, my second.
You thought we were on the same page. Were we not there?
We were not.
Oh.
My second is a striker for Tottenham.
Really?
And this would be even bigger than Ealing Jr. by 1 million, and that's Santiago Jimenez, who I've seen have a few rumors to Tottenham.
From Feyenoord. He's great.
He's great. And that solves your striker issue for the next 5 years. And so he's going to leave in January or in the summer. He's 100% going to leave. If you can pay an extra 15 million euros and get him this January and not wait until the summer when if Arsenal go for Osimhen and don't get him, that's who they're going to go to. If Bayern go for a striker and don't get him, that's who they're going to go to. He's rumored to a lot of big clubs, but not in January. And if Tottenham can come in and, make a higher price tag on him, because I've seen a lot of rumors of Richarlison potentially leaving in January.
To Saudi.
Yeah. I've seen rumors of Lo Celso leaving. You might have some funds in January.
If
and so
Richarlison leaves, that makes sense, but I think Son at this point in his career, his better position is up front instead of out on the wing. I don't think
Jimenez, is a true 9, but I think the two of them can do similarly to the way that Son and Kane did, where Kane was never playing on the wing, but Kane dropped back so much, right? Son was able to be the furthest man forward often, and I think you could have that same pairing with Santiago Jimenez.
I like that a lot. I wasn't thinking striker just because
Richarlison finally
just scored, and Son, in my opinion, has been the best striker in the Prem this year. But I know that we have been linked to strikers due to obvious reasons since Kane has gone. So that's
that was my more vibes pick.
Okay,
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't think Tottenham is going to be able to get Santiago Jimenez, but in an ideal world, this would be the time that they could get him, in my opinion.
I'm not ready personally to give up on Richarlison, and that may be because
you're telling me if a 50 million euro offer comes in from Saudi.
No, if Saudi is willing to pay Saudi money for him, sure. Yeah. By the way, I said over the summer, which I am wrong about. And I didn't think he would regress. I just thought long-term for Liverpool, it made sense. If they came in with the super Saudi money to get someone from Egypt back, not home.
Salah, you're saying?
Yeah. I said they should have taken it.
I feel like one more year.
Yeah. I think the Saudi money is coming from Salah
Liverpool
sooner than later.
win the league this year and Salah could just...
I agree. I think they should take the Saudi money before it's too late for Salah. But that's a whole different thing because he's potentially winning them the league this year.
Right.
And then, so finally, the last thing we need is center back depth.
Yep.
Because... we played Emerson Royale, who's a right back, and Ben Davies, who's...
Emerson Royale is a shocking player to watch.
That was tough to watch.
That's one of my biggest misses in my life.
You thought he was going to be good.
I mean, when you got him, a couple days before we got Tomiyasu, we were tracking him all summer. And, I watched not much of him at Betis, but, during the summer, you have a lot of time to, dive into, full match replays and stuff. I thought he was going to be spectacular.
Yeah.
And when you got him, I was so disappointed. Not only because we didn't get him, but I truly thought he was going to be spectacular. And within 2 matches watching him in the Premier League, you could tell he is literally one of the worst players.
Not only is he not a good right back, but then once you throw him in center back, that was a tough watch.
And he was playing left center back, not even on his strong body positioning side.
It was bad. He played on a left center back with Dyer right center back at one point because Udogie was also out and Davies that was ugly. But anyways, we need center back depth because that can't happen. Ben Davies has done a job with Van de Ven out. I'm fine with him as a squad depth player, as our backup left back or a squad center back. He's more than fine for me. Sure. It wasn't him. It's Dyer or Emerson Royale playing.
Dyer's going to be gone.
Can never step foot in this team again. So I went Todibo.
Okay.
From Nice.
Of course, I have him up for somebody else's list.
They have
Todibo's great.
15 matches and let up 6 goals.
At the
time of recording this.
Todibo and Saliba were center back pairing together at Nice when Saliba was on loan there, and they were incredible to watch.
Todibo.
I mean, Todibo
he would be how much? I didn't see. I saw a lot of ranges of price
I had
tags.
35 million euros written down.
That seems like a steal. I don't know what's going on in the French league, but that stat.
Well, Nice are playing some good football.
They are. They're up there in the table. 6 goals in 15 matches is insanity, and he seems to be the best one in that back line.
I mean, he was a massive prospect at Barcelona. And it was during that time when Barcelona legitimately had to sell all of their young players for nothing because they could not register players. Exactly. Like Moriba went to Leipzig, his career ended so fast. But yes, Todibo is incredible. I have him on someone else's list, but that'd be a huge
That's where I went for center back depth, and like Van de Ven's injury and Romero getting red cards every now and again. It would be good to get some solid depth in there.
It would. I went center back as well. I went Radu Dragusin. I don't know if you've seen much of him.
I don't know who that is.
He's Romanian center back, plays for Genoa. I'm like in a group chat with like some of the Twitter tacticos or whatever you want to call them.
That's deep.
And so
the Genoa center back is deep.
He's good. You're going to see him at the Euros if you don't.
Did you see who he signed though from Split? The 16-year-old center back.
Vucevic.
Or? It's not. It's something Vich.
Yeah.
But apparently he's going to be a stud. Yeah. But he's obviously 16 years old.
No, this guy's 21. Really comfortable at left center back, really comfortable at right center back. Happy to step into midfield, make a tackle. He's a little bit more on the aggressive side in terms of center backs.
So Romero like for like.
Yeah, I mean, he's not as aggressive as Romero, but like even like to a Van de Ven point, like he's not a Saliba or Van Dijk who no one's dribbling by them because they're not going to let you.
Yeah.
He's going to make a play on the ball because he's very athletic, he's lanky. But I think he would fit perfectly as depth for you at this point because he can play left center back or right center back. And I mean, he's very, very talented. Genoa is trying to sign him to a contract extension so that they can sell him for a higher value in the summer.
Makes sense, yeah.
But I've seen him rumored to Tottenham. It would be a huge steal. There's a lot of good young center backs in the Serie A. Like we got Kivior for next to nothing, who I think is spectacular. So I would be surprised if Tottenham wasn't looking into that kind of business.